running for the nomination of their party to Congress in the 2nd Congressional District. That district goes all the way across the middle of West Virginia. That is the seat now held by Congresswoman Shelley Moore Capito. Among those running, Charlotte Lane. We are interviewing all 7 here, trying to get them all in before the election 1 week from tomorrow. And Charlotte Lane joins us on Metro News Talkline. Charlotte, good morning. How are you?
Good morning, Hoppy, and thank you for having me today. And I want to say thanks to the soldiers that you were just talking to for their service to our country. And I know it's going to be very difficult for them to be away from their family for so long, but we really appreciate their service.
So who are you and why are you running?
I am Charlotte Lane, and I am running because when this seat opened up, I realized that it was important that we keep this seat, and I was the person to keep it because I have spent a lifetime standing up for West Virginians. I did it when I was in the House of Delegates. I did it when I was chairman of the Public Service Commission, and I did it when I was appointed by President Bush to the International Trade Commission, where I spent 8 years protecting West Virginia jobs from the Chinese, and that's why I am running for this seat.
What is your philosophy, Charlotte, about the role of government? What is, in your opinion, and that's a broad question, but in your opinion, what is the proper role of government in the lives of West Virginians?
First of all, I am a very conservative person, and the role of government is very, very limited. Government should protect our borders and should protect our national defense, should make sure that the vulnerable are taken care of, and provide for highways and infrastructure for the country. And everything else we need to take a strong look at.
Let me talk about that. And you oppose, of course, the health care law and say if you were elected, you would vote to roll back Obamacare. What would you say if you cast that vote and you were able to cast that successfully and were rolled back? What would you say to, in West Virginia, there's something like 80 and will eventually be more than 100,000 people who have been added on Medicaid because of the Affordable Care Act. There's 25,000 people who've been able to get insurance because of the Affordable Care Act. If you were able to roll back the Affordable Care Act, which you want to do, what would you say to those people as to why it's the right thing to do?
Well, of course, access to health care and access to affordable health care is very important, and we all agree on that. But what has happened here is we took a system that was working and threw it out and came up with a system that is not working. I would repeal Obamacare, and I would replace it with marketplace insurance policies that work. I would do it so that people could get insurance policies across state lines and let competition keep the prices down. We are going to be facing a very serious problem in this state in about 2 years trying to pay for all of the people that have been added to the Medicare or to the Medicaid roles in this state under Obamacare. This year alone, we had a problem with balancing our state budget because of what the existing Medicaid was costing the state. And so with Obamacare, we're going to face an even bigger problem, and people don't realize that. But also, what I am hearing when I'm talking to voters across the district is that Obamacare is crushing small businesses. We have a lot of small businesses in this state that have been providing good health care to all of their employees. And now with the costs of Obamacare, they're having to make hard choices of whether to lay off people because of the requirements of Obamacare or take people off the roll, take people, employees, not cover the families of employees.
Do you think, Charlotte, do you think the government should do anything for those or about those who are unable to afford insurance because of pre-existing conditions?
I think that under my plan of replacing Obamacare, yes, I would make sure that pre-existing conditions would be covered, and under my plan where the marketplace would work, then the insurance companies would have to cover people with pre-existing claims, but the marketplace would provide competition, and people could get affordable insurance. And that could happen if we would allow people to get insurance across state lines.
Would you subsidize it? Because look, if I need a liver transplant, I'm not sure how many companies want to insure me, or if I'm going to get insurance, it's going to be very, very expensive. So under your plan, would you subsidize my insurance premium?
What I need to get elected to Congress, and then once we repeal Obamacare, then we would come up with a plan to allow the marketplace to work, and then we would address all of those issues that you were talking about: liver transplants, heart transplants, and lung transplants. But we would come up with a comprehensive plan that would get input from both Republicans and Democrats, so that it is a bipartisan buy-in, and explain to the American people, so that we do not have this travesty that we have seen for the past several years of a bill thrown down the throats of people, and then we find out what is in it after it's passed. And the president lied to us about that we could keep our policy if we liked it. Well, that was wrong. He said we could keep our doctors. Well, we are now finding out that with all of these changes, people cannot keep their doctors. But the biggest travesty, Hoppy, is that the president is willy-nilly just disregarding the Constitution and is extending these deadlines, or just waiving deadlines, even though that is unconstitutional and that is not what the Congress intended. And we have a president that is out of control and is crushing West Virginia. And that's why we need people like me to go to Washington and say enough is enough.
Charlotte Lane's with us. She's a Republican candidate for Congress in the 2nd Congressional District. Let's talk about the budget. You say on your website you're a fiscal conservative. One of the more fiscally conservative plans has been put forth in the Ryan budget, which passed the House. I'm not sure how familiar you are with the Ryan budget, but I've asked every candidate this. Would you have voted for or against the Ryan budget? And part of that Ryan budget would make Medicare a premium support system. It would give older folks an opportunity to have a money or a voucher or support to buy insurance on the private market. Do you support or oppose the Ryan budget? Or do you know enough about it to support or oppose it?
I support a balanced budget, period. Now, what I do not support is making changes to Medicare and Social Security that would privatize it or anything like that. What we need to do is take Social Security and Medicare and make it so that it will be here when everybody that is paid into it will have it. It is a safety net that people are paying into, and we need to make sure that we keep it strong. Now, so any budget that I will vote for will not privatize that, but we will balance the budget, and that is the primary reason, and that is the primary goal on any budget that I vote for. It will be balanced.
How do you? Let me candidly ask you, Charlotte, how do you balance the budget without doing something substantive about Medicare or Social Security or defense or raising taxes?
Hobby, we pay a lot in taxes already, and Washington has their priorities wrong on how we spend that money. For instance, we need to have a strong defense. We need to make sure that Medicare and Social Security are there for our seniors when it's time to retire. And there are lots of things that can be done with the budget within the existing revenue that we have that will balance the budget and take care of the priorities that a government needs to take care of.
Okay. Charlotte Lane is with us, Republican candidate for Congress in the 2nd Congressional District. What does the Second Amendment mean to you?
The Second Amendment means that we have the right to bear arms. I am a strong supporter of the Second Amendment. I am a member of the NRA, and I will not do anything that will diminish the Second Amendment protections that we have under the Constitution.
Are there any, under your interpretation of what the Second Amendment means, are there limitations on the Second Amendment on an individual? Are there limitations on an individual's ability to keep and bear arms?
Not that I'm aware of.
So I could have a bazooka?
Yes.
Okay. What is... All right.
Let me tell you a little bit about, again, why I'm running.
Okay.
And
all right.
Remember that I have been endorsed by the West Virginia Coal Association and the West Virginia Farm Bureau, and that is consistent with my belief that President Obama is waging a war on our coal industry, and he is waging a war on our farm industry also. He is allowing his EPA to go after the coal industry and the poultry industry far beyond what the law allows. And I also was recently endorsed by the Charleston Daily Mail, and so with the 3 endorsements that I have, I feel really good that people in this state will get a very good, well-qualified delegate or very well-qualified person to go to Congress.
Charlotte Lane, Republican candidate for Congress in the 2nd District. Good luck. You got one more week of campaigning. Should be a very interesting night on Tuesday night. We'll be in touch. And Charlotte, it's good to speak with you.
May I add one more thing?
Of course.
Poppy?
Sure.
Yes. Recently, it's come to my attention that one of the candidates in this race is saying that I am not pro-life. I am 100% pro-life, and I resent the fact that there is an out-of-state person who is running in this race saying that I am not pro-life. I am pro-life, and I am a success story of the pro-life movement. Like many women, I have gone the journey from pro-choice to pro-life, and I resent the fact that there is a candidate in this race who has never voted in West Virginia.
Who are you talking about? You talking about Alex Mooney?
Yes, he's never voted in West Virginia, and he is raising questions about my pro-life stance, and I resent that, and he is wrong, and people should be aware that he moved to this state just to run for this seat.
Got it. Charlotte Lane. Charlotte, good to speak with you, and we'll talk to you Tuesday night.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Charlotte Lane, candidate for Congress in West Virginia 2. We'll be back.